So let's talk about selecting recommenders. This is one of the most important pieces of your application because what they say about you will help support what you're writing about and what you're putting into your college applications. So anything I tell you here for the Common App applies to any other college application out there. Hang on until the end because we'll talk about how to get insights into what questions will be asked of guidance counselors and teachers and other recommenders before asking them to write you a recommendation. It might inform what you ask them to talk about. So when you get into the Common App, you can see on the colleges section over here, you have questions, recommendations, and FERPA. So you're going to go right into the FERPA and recommendations section. Number one, you have to sign this FERPA. You cannot do it until August 1st, heading into your senior year of high school. You need to do it or else you will not be able to invite nor have recommenders upload their recommendations here. So you are waiving your right to see your recommendations before they are uploaded. So unfortunately, you need to do that. Depending upon how your school manages transcripts, school reports, and recommendations, this school you can see uses Naviance. Your school might do it as well. They might do it through paper or they might do it through electronically through the system. But you can go right into these sections and invite your recommenders right here, right? So you'll have their email name, all of that information. And then you can look at what each college requires. So rule of thumb, very important, 2 core teachers. Regardless of requirement for some of your schools, you'll be able to decide which teachers and in which order you'd like the school to review them. But here you can see American requires one and an additional one is optional. So you can upload both your core teachers. So what is a core teacher? It is a teacher that teaches math, history, English, or science. They need to have taught you a full year, not an elective. Most recent years are best, right? Because they're seeing your growth. So that's something I would tell you to think about. Over here, other recommenders. So you can see the list of types of other recommenders that each college will allow. You can see here that American allows art teachers, clergy, coaches, college access counselors, employers, or others. So that's quite a bit. Not all schools allow that, but I would say give great consideration to additional recommenders because they can add more context and validate what you're writing about in your applications and what you're reporting on your activities section. Think outside of the box, right? Think about community leaders, coaches, that type of thing that can give us different perspectives. Think about a camera going around you, getting a 360 view, and brainstorm this with your parents because a lot of times you might not think of other adults that could really help you out. So guidance counselors also do need to do a recommendation and they will be uploading your transcripts as well. Remember, each college or each high school might ask that you fill out a transcript request form. It could be paper in the guidance office, or it could be digital on Google, or it could be in your Naviance system or another system your high school is using. Typically, they'll come into the classroom and tell you about that, but I would say make sure that you're asking your guidance counselor how they want that done. You don't want recommendations delayed because it can push your application from early action to regular decision, and you don't want that, right? So I would say another way to understand what they're going to be asking teachers, counselors about you is to download right in this portal. You can download teacher and counselor forms that they'll be filling out and see the questions that they're going to be asked. So that's just a hint. I would do that, as well as we've provided you with a request letter. So once you physically go face to face and ask your teacher, do you feel comfortable writing a recommendation letter for me for my colleges? And you get a yes, then you should follow up with a request letter talking about some of the things you think they could talk about with you, and giving them your student resume. So there's also a template that you can download for the student resume, and you don't want them to go on their memory. That's why we include that in the letter, so that you don't have to embarrass them and they may have to come back and ask you questions because they're not remembering. So this is a great way to provide them with everything they need. In addition to that, your high school guidance counselor might require a brag sheet, which is a student resume, and or ask you to answer questions about yourself and also parents, right? Remember that. Another tip, there is a section here for parent recommendations. I would discourage you against that. Unless the college specifically asks for a parent recommendation. Otherwise, I would not just freely give that. Of course, parents think you're great, and I would avoid that unless they did ask for that.